Welcome to the Mike Weatherford Show. I'm Mike Weatherford. You think you know what it's about? A lie detector, what the professionals call polygraph? We're going to find out tonight. We've got David Doyle. We're going to talk about polygraphs. We're going to talk about all the good stuff behind the scenes on polygraphs. But first off, don't miss our show next week, Tuesday, February the 15th at 7 p.m. live. We'll be presenting the missing person case of Rachel Conger, who disappeared right here in Paris back in 2008. Her husband Paul was found deceased, but no trace of her has ever been found. We will have them here live. Rachel's daughter Amber, Paul Conger's brother Richard, and Sheriff Josh Fry will be right here as my special co-host. We'll also be joined by two private detectives who worked on the case for Discovery Channel, as well as a surprise special guest who has had a long, successful history of finding missing persons for the police departments. You don't want to miss this show, folks. Hopefully we can collectively help bring an end to this case. This is going to be an intense show, folks. You definitely don't want to miss this one. I recommend you write it down, you go to Facebook, and you click on Going, and you follow our page. Tell all your friends and be sure to be joining us next Tuesday here at 7 p.m. Look for the event here on the Mike Weatherford Show page and click on Going. Let us know you're going to be here. It's a very, very good show we're going to have. But tonight, folks, we've got David Doyle, a polygraph examiner here. But before then, I've got a special co-host tonight. Welcome in Mr. David Tator, lie detector Hayes.
I didn't think you'd have me on. It's that music they got going on tonight. It's jamming, ain't it?
Oh, it is.
I've been wanting I'm going to get down.
I know it is. It is. I know it is. Well, tell me something, Tator. What you been doing with yourself, brother?
Lying.
I caught you.
Got caught. Yeah, man. Yeah. I might not be doing that if I'm like thinking about, being a public official.
Hey, you are running for office. Now, have you got anything before you don't really know where to tell people to vote? Do you know yet?
I got it, man.
All right, spill it to me.
I can't tell you. It might be a lie.
Seriously, now you running for county commissioner in what district?
In District 4.
District 4.
And you can vote. You will be voting at Grove, but not where you early vote, but you'll be voting in the, I think they told me down there in the new gym down there.
Okay.
Or you can vote at the CAPS building.
Okay.
What I call the CAPS building. I don't know. It may have a different name, but.
You're talking about down there on
Old Central School.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
What about City Hall? They ain't voting there no more? That's done.
No, they've changed all that up.
Well, that's good.
And I think we're going to have maybe soon, the election commission, Miss Green, to come on and explain all that to us.
She's coming on the show. I think it's going to be the second week in
maybe March. Maybe
second week of March. She's going to come on here. She's going to explain to us about all the voting precincts, where you go vote at, why they changed it maybe, and hopefully she'll get on to y'all for not voting. That's a big problem. It should be 99% of the people in this county ought to vote.
I know it. I agree. That's my one of my big things. I think, I don't know, I'm not going to say a number because I don't know exactly, but I've got over 3,000 people in District 4, and I want 3,000 people to come vote for Tator.
They're going to vote for Tator.
That's what I want.
I believe you'd be a good one. So, I might be a little biased because you are one of my best buds. That's not a secret. Everybody knows that. But I think you would be a good county commissioner. I think
I appreciate it.
You're part of the county. You know what's going on. You know the needs of people in your district. And I don't see any reason why you're not going to.
I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be pretty cool because it's not going to be there's 3 seats available and there's 5 people running. So. You got to get out and do a little work, and
that's right.
It's going to be fun.
Tell me something, Tator. Did you know when I called you and told you to meet me, we was going to be doing something?
That's where you lied.
Well, I didn't get on the tester.
I know. That's why, because you was lying.
Oh, yeah. Well, I just told you, I said, meet me at a certain place, a certain time, and I need your help. The kind of friends you are, you showed up.
Yeah.
I didn't say
pictures.
you were smart.
I even put lipstick on.
Yeah, I'm not saying
you said we were
smart.
taking pictures.
I'm not saying you're real smart because you did show up not knowing what was going on, and you sat down there and you took a polygraph test.
Yeah, we did that.
You did that. And, folks, you need to hang around to after the commercial break tonight. We're going to show you bits and pieces. I'm going to show you bits and pieces of this his thing. It's hilarious. I mean, you definitely got to hang around to the second half of the show and watch Tator when he's on a lie detector. I mean, he goes from laughing, cutting up where he thinks it's funny to all of a sudden Tator realizes this is serious crap.
That's the real deal.
Well, yes, and I did ask him why they call him Tator. But, we'll find out at the end of the show. But let's not keep our guests. Do what?
Caught me.
I caught you. Caught me.
I was tricked.
It wasn't tricked. I mean.
I was tricked.
No. Is that the word you use?
Yeah.
Well, at least you didn't say lied. I didn't lie to you. Did I lie?
You misinformed the situation. Okay. How about that? Call it what you want. Whatever makes you feel better.
Somebody wants to know tonight if you're going to be telling the truth or you're going to be handing out those long wheelbase 10s. You better be thinking about that before the end of this show. You know what a long wheelbase 10 is, don't you? Little cat eyes.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Let's get on with our guest tonight. We got a polygraph examiner. He's the owner of Rise, a professional polygraph assessment company right here in Paris by the name of David Doyle. David, come on the show, brother.
Man, I want to applaud for this guy bad.
Yeah.
We might get a rise out of him, you think?
We might get a rise out of him. Look at him right there. Rise credibility, man. Sit down there and put them ears on.
You hear that cool music again?
What do you think?
I'm good. How are y'all?
How you doing, man? Scoot your microphone up there where we can hear what you're saying. Get you a mouthful of that right there. There you go. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, Mike. How are y'all?
Doing fine, David. Welcome to the show.
Thank y'all for having me on, man.
How you like my co-host? You met him the other day, didn't you?
Yeah. I don't judge people.
Thanks.
David, tell me about yourself. David Doyle, polygraph examiner. You're the owner of Rise. What the heck does Rise? I mean,
well, it's Rise Credibility Assessment is a full name. Rise is an acronym for our business. I come up with it 2017, I believe it was. And, of course, as a polygraph examiner, most of the clients I deal with, first of all, it's most of the time it's a sensitive subject.
What does RISE stand for?
I'm getting there.
Okay.
It's a sensitive subject, important thing in their life, okay? So you're going to get respect.
All
right. As a polygraph examiner, I'm it. It's my business, okay? I don't have the boss looking over my shoulder. So you're going to get integrity.
That's all
right. Integrity, it's easy to do the right thing when the boss is standing over your shoulder patting you. But when you're alone, it's still doing the right thing when nobody's watching, okay? Service.
That's the S.
These are important things that most people's lives, why they have to have these. It can't be put off a lot of times for 2 or 3 months. When somebody contacts us about a polygraph, no matter what it may be, they want it kind of in a hurry. It's pretty important. So you're going to get service out of it. And then the last is excellence, because you're going to get the most valid polygraph format that there is on the market at the time. I go to school every year, try to keep up with the standards. So you're going to get excellent service.
Was that what you thought it stood for, Tator?
No. But I'm impressed. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I am very impressed. Who is David Doyle? Tell me who David Doyle is.
Well, I'm married to Nikki. Been married for almost 23 years.
Is that your wife?
She's put up. Yes, it is.
I thought that was your daughter.
Yeah, I know. I get that a lot.
Okay.
I do have a daughter and a son. The daughter's finishing up school at UT Knoxville, trying to be a school teacher. Son is a drill instructor in the Marine Corps at Parris Island. He has 3 children, and our daughter has 3 children. So I've got 6 grandchildren as of December the 8th, had our 6th one. So, yeah, I know I don't look that old.
No.
But I was born and raised in Milan, Tennessee. Graduated high school at Milan High School. Kind of went in your field when I first got out of school. I went to, back then they called it vocational school. Mm-hmm. Went to automotive technology. Graduated early, went to work in car dealerships, worked Toyota, Chevrolet, Ford dealerships for several years.
That was a bad deal, didn't you?
No, it wasn't that bad, really. I just always kind of wanted to pursue a law enforcement career.
Right.
So I left that and went to work at the Gibson County Sheriff's Office down in Trenton. Worked there a couple of years. That was around 5, 6, somewhere in there, 7. Left there, came to work at Henry County Sheriff's Office in '99. Moved up here, me and my wife, and lived in Henry County ever since '99. I left the sheriff's office in 2017 and opened my own business, which is Rise Credibility Assessment. I'm a polygraph examiner. I administer polygraph exams, and my wife runs the brains of the rest of the operation.
Behind every successful man, there's a successful woman.
That's correct.
Every time.
Yeah.
Well, what got you wanting to do polygraph, or as me and Tator, we call it lie detector? What made you decide you want to do a lie detector test?
Well, I was working at the sheriff's office here as an investigator, criminal investigation division. And of course, through our course of work there, we had utilized polygraphs in cases that we worked. We typically had to deal with outside agencies. There's no agency in West Tennessee that has a polygraph examiner. That's not a state agency, TBI, Tennessee Highway Patrol, something of that nature. When I say agencies, I'm talking about your local departments.
Gotcha.
So we typically have to use TBI, an outside agency, and I'd used them several times on cases. There again, it goes back to if you got one examiner in all of West Tennessee for an agency, you can imagine they're getting pulled everywhere. So if you called them up and you had a case that wasn't maybe really a serious matter, but it was obviously to the victims. You could say, hey, I've got somebody, do a polygraph on. I can be there a week from next Friday. So we needed it done quicker than that. So I had an opportunity. Sheriff come to me and had an opportunity to look into getting a polygraph examiner at the department, and would I be interested? And the ball got to rolling from there. I mean, it's always something I've thought was very intriguing before I really got into it and knew what it was about. So went to polygraph school, basic polygraph examiner school at the Academy of Polygraph Science in Fort Myers, Florida. Almost 3 months, 2.5 months in Fort Myers, Florida.
I bet that was bad, wasn't it?
Believe it or not, it was.
The beach. Women in bikini. I mean, it was awful.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
Yeah, sounds great. Call anybody that's graduated from that school and see what they say.
I'm just saying.
I was there about 4.5 weeks before I seen anything between where I stayed and the school. I mean, it was pretty intense.
Same thing if we was in the back room somewhere talking.
Absolutely,
just because your wife is here and you're on national TV.
No, absolutely. It was one of the most intense, schools. Obviously, it's not physical. I mean, you're sitting like we are here. Right.
I'm physical, so I have to roll around a lot. So I have to move and talk to Tator and talk to you.
Yeah, but I understand what he's talking about because when you have to do mental, you get overloaded too. Yeah, so exactly. You ought to be able to relate to him pretty good.
I was down there for almost 3 months. Graduated basic polygraph examiner school. Was the first polygraph examiner. I guess still is the only polygraph examiner that was ever employed at the Henry County Sheriff's Office.
Do they have one now?
No.
Okay.
At that time, outside of a state agency, again, Henry County Sheriff's Office was the only department in West Tennessee that had its own polygraph examiner at that time. I think Jackson Police Department has one now, but that was later. Attended some more training, got licensed. In Tennessee, you have to be licensed to administer polygraphs. You can't just go to a school and come out here and start running polygraphs. You have to be a licensed examiner through the state of Tennessee. I'm licensed in Kentucky and Tennessee to administer polygraphs. So got licensed. Part of that is you have to attend training every year to keep your license. So I've attended training. Actually, I attend more training than I have to.
I've got to ask this. Mm-hmm. How many times do you ever have husbands calling you and say, hey, would you give me a polygraph test so my wife would shut up? Does that ever happen? I mean, everybody wants to know that question.
Well, I've had a few of those phone calls.
I knew it had to happen.
My wife does most of that side of the business, so she's the one that gets those phone calls.
Or it may be the wife calling. Hey, I want to give my husband a polygraph.
I ain't getting in this conversation.
No,
right now.
you done had one.
I'm opting out.
All right. But
I had to have a question, though, about what you just commented on. So when you were with the Sheriff's Department, did other departments call y'all? Like y'all had to call the THP, or did other communities utilize y'all's service that you had then?
Yes, when I was at the sheriff's office, other agencies would contact us, contact the sheriff, and they did. We did do, I guess you call it support services, for some other agencies, we'd go to them, they'd come to us.
Do employers still send potential employees for testing? Certain places, certain jobs? What would that be?
Polygraphs it's a fickle profession. Let's put it that way.
Fickle.
Yeah, very
Fancy
fickle.
word.
Yeah.
You know what that means, Tator?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a lot of things involved. A lot of people, a lot of the viewers are probably going to say, "Oh, I had a polygraph in 1982 when I went to work at Family Dollar at 16." Yeah. Okay, yeah, you probably did. More than likely you did. Now you're not going to because that is illegal. Okay.
Oh, really?
Correct. There's only
hold on. You can't have one before you go to work there.
As part of your employment.
Right.
No.
Okay, but
no.
you can't once you become employee and something's missing or something.
It depends. There's
Okay.
In 1988, Ronald Reagan signed what is called the Employee Polygraph Protection Act. Mm-hmm. We refer to it as EPPA. All right, and it's basically it forbid employers such as and I just use that as an example.
Sure.
Family Dollar, Joe
Hayes
Blow's
Construction,
yeah.
Mike's Mufflers.
Yeah, you could not require somebody to take a polygraph as a part of their hiring process. In that stipulation or in that act, there were a few professions that were excluded that you can do that with. Law enforcement agencies, anything that deals with armed security guard, Brinks Armor, obviously things like that.
Secret Service?
Secret. Sorry, I'm getting there. Getting ahead of yourself.
I'm back.
Yeah. Anything that deals with controlled narcotics or the dispensing of them, pharmacists by the EPPA Act they can, or it says any federal employee. Secret
That's
Service.
where they got. I mean, I was thinking, if I was the president, and I wasn't going to let nobody else do it, but I might let these guys, being they're going to be watching me.
I'd like to know which party they presented. Nowadays I want to make sure I got the same.
And with that act, Mike, what they did is you were asking about after they're employed. Mm-hmm. Okay, it's a very strict standard that employers have to meet to require that. I don't have the whole act in front of me. It's really long, but number one is it has to be some type of damage or loss of finances to the employer. Sure. So obviously you'd be thinking things like theft. Right. But there's certain criteria they have to meet.
Does court order polygraphs?
As far as what do you?
Just a court. You ever been in a trial and the judge say, I want to? They'll send people to mental counseling and stuff like that. They ever send them to a polygraph?
I have seen court orders that there's other things involved,
sure.
Like you were talking about the mental counseling and all, and part of the mental evaluations and evaluations, polygraph is used in that.
Right.
So I have seen polygraph the words into a polygraph in a court order.
Two questions, two-pronged. Tell me the history of polygraphs and some of the reasons why they started using polygraphs, and to this day, what does people generally use polygraphs for? Do you know the history of where it come from?
Sure. Basically, when there was more than two people on this earth, we started trying to figure out if somebody was lying to us.
Adam and Eve and the apple? Did it go back that far?
Well, I don't think they really had a concern of who was lying because there was only two of them.
That's
so
right.
If you didn't do it,
since there's two people on Earth.
I said since there was more than two people.
God,
he said more than two.
I was wrong.
Okay. So there's been a lot of history there. We'll get to the actual polygraph and what that is about. Yeah. But you can look through ancient history, ancient China. They tried to figure out how to detect lies, and we always want to know if somebody's lying to us.
My mama was good at that, but go ahead.
Well, in ancient China, what they would do is they would take a handful of rice, dry rice, and make the person that they thought was they wanted to know was either lying or telling the truth. Put that handful of rice in their mouth, and they would ask them questions. And after it was over, they'd have them spit the rice out, and they'd have somebody examine the rice. If the rice was dry, they felt like that person was lying. Because if you're lying, your saliva glands don't produce as much saliva, your mouth gets real dry.
Well, wait a minute.
That was their philosophy. This is ancient China we're talking about. Okay, so that was one thing. I believe it was in India, okay? This is their way of figuring it out in the ancient times. They would put a tent up and put a donkey in the tent. And if they had me and you and Tator that they thought done something wrong, and they wanted to find out which of us one of us was lying. They would tell them, "You're going to go in that tent. It's dark. Okay, you're going to pull the donkey's tail. All right, if the donkey makes his noise, you're lying." That was their theory. So they'd send Mike into the tent, and when Mike would come out, the first thing they would do is they had a doctor that would inspect his hand to see if he actually even pulled the tail. If he never pulled the tail, they knew that was the liar.
Well, that's a good way. That's for real. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That was ancient time.
Yeah, okay? I had that in my mind where it was going to go. Yeah.
Now, polygraphs, I mean, everybody, even in the 1800s, late 1800s, early 1900s, scientists and psychologists, they were trying to figure out ways to develop something to figure out if somebody was lying to them or not. The modern day polygraph that is used in far as, I guess you could say, where it stemmed from, was in 1921. So it's been around for over a century. It's been studied for over a century. It was by a man named John Larson. He was a Berkeley police officer in California and a psychologist. And he developed the very first polygraph or instrument for recording simultaneously sensors at the same time. So he's kind of the original version of the polygraph. There was a guy in 1940-something, 42, I think it was, Leonard Keeler. He took John Larson's design and added some other sensors that he had studied. Galvanic skin response,
Tator,
things
can
like
you relate to all that?
Somewhat, yes.
Okay.
And kind of, I guess you would say, progressed to what John Larson's instrument was into pretty much every sensor that we use today is what he kind of developed. So, and then he come out and opened his own polygraph academy. It was called, the Leonard Keeler Polygraph School. And for years, that's where most any of your people in the polygraph world went to school.
What the heck the word polygraph have to do with lie detector? Polygraph. I can't put them. Waterboarding. Do y'all waterboard?
No.
I mean, that's just the question I had to know.
That's an answer I can't really give you because the Latin definition for polygraph is many writings, is what that means. So.
But waterboarding, y'all don't do waterboarding. I think that's a way to get. No, they say that works. They use that over in Iraq. No,
it depends on what movie you're watching.
Oh, okay.
It didn't work on Rambo.
Well, no, he was a special hero though.
I know it.
Yeah, but what I wonder.
I've got a serious question for just a second. Going back to something you said earlier.
Okay.
What would an employer be looking for in a polygraph test?
Honesty.
Are you talking about?
Yeah, but how? I mean,
are you talking about one of the agencies that are allowed and required to?
Right. What sort of questions would they be asking?
Well, think about the agency. What are we talking about?
Well, like law enforcement or something.
As if you were going to hire a police officer, what would be something you would want to know?
I guess whether they were honest or. I guess what I'm trying to get at is what series. How would you go about asking questions? Well, what would be some of the questions you would ask?
And there again, it's really left up to the client, which would be the agency, okay, of what they want to know.
I want to know how your shooting record goes. Can you shoot pretty good? Can you aim good? I mean, that'd be some.
There's police officers out there every day that get hired by agencies that's never shot a firearm in their life. I want
to make sure, especially if you're going bodyguard.
But you would probably want to know: do they have a history of like some kind of drug use? Wouldn't you?
Well, yeah,
in their past. Okay. You'd probably want to know if they've committed any type of like serious crimes or anything.
Yeah, but you would have to ask a whole lot of questions to work up to that. So you're just looking for a different. And I'm trying to think kind of how that thing was working the other day. You're looking for
it builds you up to it.
Odd responses to those particular questions, as opposed to who their mama is, or if they went to.
That's a good way of putting it in theory.
Yeah, if they went to high school or something.
Without getting in depth detail of how they work, you're pretty well correct. Typically, they last from the time somebody comes into my office to the time they're done on a polygraph in that situation. Somewhere in around about 2.5 hour range.
Yeah, a lot more than 5 minutes.
Yeah. So I've had them.
Can you vouch for that?
I can vouch for that.
I've had them last, 6.5 hours, start to finish. So.
Are they allowed in court?
That's what everybody asks. Are they allowed in court? Certain courts will allow it. State of New Mexico, it has to be stipulated between the attorneys. Basically, can I go into a Tennessee court and say Mike failed his polygraph? No, I cannot do that. Okay. Everything you tell me before and after it, I can testify to that. Okay.
How accurate are they?
There's about
DNA is 99.9. I asked a lot of questions, but DNA is 99.9% accurate. Do you ever believe that they'll ever say, well, polygraphs are 99.9% and allow them to be just as admissible in court as DNA? And if not, how reliable is a lie detector?
Well, you asked too many questions.
Well,
number one,
right.
That I can't give just one answer for.
No,
I don't think it'll ever be 99.9.
Okay. That's the first part.
Do I ever think that it'll be reliable enough? It is now.
Right.
So I don't have to think if it's going to be. I mean, I believe it is now.
What percent would you credit it being? It's not a trick question.
No, it's not, but it's a double answer. It depends on the type test.
Okay. General, I know what you're saying, and I don't know how to word it. And generally, is it 50%, 75% accurate?
No. Wait. Generally, you're looking at no matter the formats, no matter the test, screening or diagnostic, which we'll talk about that in a minute.
Right.
You're looking anywhere between low spectrum 84 to 85 to the high spectrum about 94.
Well, that's pretty accurate.
Anywhere in there.
I got a lot of whippings when I was a kid on about 5% suspicion that I did that.
It was 100%. It was 100%. You needed it for something, though.
Well, yeah, my dad always say, neighbor calls, yep, what'd he do? That's my son. I don't care. I know that's something you do. So that was 5%. I got a whipping.
Yeah.
So.
And the reason, I'll go back to that. The reason I say the difference in the validity and accuracy is like what we were talking about was pre-employment testing with law enforcement agencies, things of that nature. That's what we call a screening test. Okay. Think about the questions we just talked about. We don't know there's an issue, right? You're looking to see if there's one.
Right. I guess that's why I asked the question about that.
It's a screening, basically a screening, and it goes back to the medical field.
But in a minute, if I was going to go to work for the CIA, if I was going to get back and be a bodyguard,
right,
and I wanted to work for the CIA, basically, what questions would they ask? Would you have a platform of questions you would ask, or would you leave it up to whatever the agency wants you to ask? Or is there a guideline you go by, or is it just whatever they want to know?
No, it's somewhat of a guideline. There's a standards and practice to things. That's why a lot of the accuracy and validity has risen so high on polygraphs is because of standards and practice. But you got to you got to put things into perspective. If you're testing somebody that's in the CIA or Secret Service. First of all, they test their own. If you're trying to get hired with a Secret Service.
We're just using that for an example.
Secret Service agent.
Let's break it down to something you could do. If a sheriff department wanted to hire somebody and they wanted to come down there, would it be a test that you would ask them? Or would you say, what do you want to know? How would you even start? I think that's where you was going.
Both. Again, it's a both answer. A lot of the head of these agencies don't really know what they can ask. So I have to ask them, what do you want to know? What are things you want to know? And if they tell you, you can't really do that. Yeah. Okay, that was part of the EPPA Act, even as part of law enforcement. Any of these agencies that can polygraph you legally now, as far as your employment, they can't ask about your religion. They can't ask about sexuality. There's certain things they cannot ask you about. Okay,
the major important things they can't ask.
Well,
the guy asked here, if you can't give results in court, what's the actual use of a lie detector? And that's a good, fair question.
I will tell you this, Ed. I've been in business since 2017. So what is that? 7 years or 6 years?
Don't make me add. I quit that earlier.
I have run thousands of polygraphs, thousands of them. I don't keep count. Somewhere between probably 4,000 over the years.
Jesus.
And probably the vast percentage of what I do and what I administer, the court ain't even involved in it. There's no really reason for the courts. So everybody says it's not admissible in court. Why do you use it? There's a lot of reasons you use polygraphs. Like we just discussed, pre-employment. Does employers want to make sure they're getting a good candidate to come in for that position? Okay. Obviously in law enforcement, they don't want to hire the person that's going to be their next lawsuit. They want to make sure their background, what their history is. So it has nothing to do with the court. All right. It's a hiring process. There's family matters. People call about things inside of families they want to know about. They don't have no intentions of going to court over nothing. Okay, well you keep saying cheating, but I mean, we always say this, and it's the bad thing. But when somebody passes away, as a family, you see people's true colors a lot of times.
Well, sure you will.
And so you have people that, families bicker and argue, and there's things they want to know, have no initiative to carry anything to court. Okay, so there's a lot of reasons to still run it.
And there's a lot of areas you probably can't discuss, and you just tell me no. You do a lot of them through maybe sex crimes and stuff like that.
I do.
That's a big part of it, isn't it? Through the state or something? What can you tell me about that?
Well, I mean, I can't really get into a lot of that. A lot of it is confidential, but state, federal, there's things that
sex offenders basically have to do one periodically, don't they?
It depends on where you're at. Depends on the state you're in, first of all,
right.
And what the requirements are on that as far as your conviction.
Right.
But there's a lot of things that never have any intentions of going to court. The people have no intentions of it going to court whatsoever.
You told Tator and I, when we was out there, that when they sit down there and do a polygraph, you have no reason to believe they're lying. 0 reasons until it's over.
Correct.
Really, is it really a lie detector, or is it what when you're doing when you're doing a polygraph? Let's use this proper term. When you're doing a polygraph, what are you looking for? I mean, are you looking for lies or deceiving, or what is what are you really? I don't know if I how to ask the question. Well, it's hard to ask these questions like I ain't telling you.
I'll answer what I think you're going with.
Right.
No, it's not a lie detector. Okay, a polygraph instrument does not detect anything. It doesn't say Mike lied to this, he didn't lie to that, he lied to this, he didn't lie to this.
Right.
Okay, a polygraph instrument, all it does is record. All right, kind of like a VCR tape. Okay, it's recording what it's given. It is recording a person's physiological responses that their body generates involuntarily to stimulus that's presented, which are questions.
I want to roll that beautiful bean footage. We got a few pictures, and there's a pucker factor, and there's all kind of stuff out here. Producer, quiet polygraph and possession. So you don't want no dancing and loud music.
That's where Dana, she didn't pass the test.
No, Dana didn't pass that test.
Well, obviously, when I ask you a question,
I tried to tell her too.
Yeah.
Obviously, during the testing, when I want it quiet, because when I'm asking you a question and you're hooked up to a polygraph instrument, I don't want somebody outside to slam a door.
You don't want to do loud, nasty jokes or nothing.
No.
Yeah, we don't want the Tator's shenanigans that he does. Go ahead, show me some more pictures. What's this all about?
That's just the ones on the left are what we call attaboys.
I understand.
Some awards I received when I was at the sheriff's office.
Now here's the torture devices right here. Yeah. What's that one on the left?
The one on the far left is what is called the medical term for it is called a plethysmograph.
That's what you had hooked up. It looked that one in the middle got the double-headed rig there.
Yeah.
I can tell you where that looks like it goes, but I probably don't go there. Yeah,
probably
it kind of looks like a sex toy, but it ain't, is it?
Okay. No, that's typically going to go on your index and ring fingers.
Told you, Tator. Told you where it went.
Pretty big sex toy.
No, I'm telling you. Now, what's the other thing that look like a spring? Well, back up just a second if you can back up.
That's the electric.
Yeah, right there. Is that something you whip them with, or what is that?
That is called pneumographs.
Pneumographs.
But actually, the 1921 polygraph that was invented by John Larson, that was one of the very first sensors, and that's what he used.
Okay, now I want to show the pucker factor. Put that next one. There you go, right there. See that thing, Tator? Remember that?
I was the one sitting on it, dude. What do you
explain what that does?
It's a big fancy term. I don't know if it's called a motion sensor, Mike.
Yeah, Tator thought that was going to shock him if he lied.
He said motion sensor too, not stimulator.
Well, see, I told
motion sensor.
Let me tell you, I lied to Tator, so I'm glad I wasn't on the machine. I told him if he lied, that thing would shock him. And Tator believed I call it a pucker factor because if you lie, you're going to pucker up a little bit, right?
No.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what the hell? You said on it. I mean, now look at Taylor was nervous.
That's 5 minutes worth of it.
We're back up just one more time. I'm sorry. Look at Taylor right there. Say he's acting like he's all cool. Yeah. Now we're gonna have video in here in a minute. Don't y'all go nowhere.
You can notice, Mike. I'm really focused on the computer screen there. It's because at that point his breathing has really went crazy.
It has went crazy.
He's realized it's serious.
He's looking over now, and Tator's kind of grinning, but you can see. Look at that hand overall spread out.
It's because Dana wouldn't quit talking.
Oh, okay. Well, blame it on Dana. He was no going.
Blame it on somebody. I'm lying anyway. Right?
Yeah, I know. Now look at him now. Now he's got that. Oh hell! Look at him there. Look. Oh. Now he's scared. Look at that. That right there is where y'all need to take that picture right there and frame it. That right there is some good stuff.
Tater, you know what? Normally, I get to screen the pictures. What happened to this deal right here?
Well, you was busy taking lie detector. I couldn't let you.
I didn't get to screen the picture.
You're screening it. You're screaming.
Usually, you text them.
I can't tell if you was passing gas or if you was scared.
More than once.
I've never claimed to be a mind reader, but I know exactly what he was thinking at that moment.
Look at that picture right there. Almighty. I think the pucker factor was kicking in about there.
You know what?
What?
Now that you're done having fun at
my
expense, I was wanting to comment on the medals and stuff that he had because
go back to the medals if he wants. Let's get him back. Look here, he's going to go back to the medals, and Tater, I've told you on the bus long enough. Producer,
I don't care.
I know you don't. He's going to go back. Give him just a minute. He's doing his magic, and he'll get back to the medals. And
reverse is the button on the left.
Yeah. Well, no, that's not. There we go. There you go.
I thought it was very interesting.
I did too.
About you talking about how y'all trade those out.
Oh, you're talking about the ones on the right. They're challenge.
The one on the right.
They're called challenge coins. Anybody in law enforcement are familiar with them, but if you'll notice, let's see, the one in the bottom row in the middle, that's the Henry County Sheriff's Office challenge coin. Anybody that works there has seen 100 of them. But we would get those issued to us, and you go to training, and other agencies, when you was at training, you would swap them, And where they come about was in World War II. Mm-hmm. And they would give those coins to a Army unit, whatever each coin had a different design, and it was your unit, 101st Airborne, whatever it was. And when these soldiers were in enemy territory, combat zones, and they would run across other soldiers, they would swap them with each other. And that's how they first got started. I've got, just a lot of friends. I got one there that was a hostage negotiator I went to Polygraph school with at New York Police Department. I attended some polygraph training. One of them was a Secret Service agent assigned to Vice President detail. So, just stuff that means a lot to me,
What I thought was cool about that was after you were telling us about all those, I was watching the Olympics the next night. And they had challenge coins, and I saw I think it was the curling team. The Chinese curling team had some, and they were passing. And I thought about,
swapping them with the other teams.
Yeah, and that was pretty cool.
We got to take a commercial break. He's in my ear telling me got to pay the bills.
You sure you want to take a break?
Yeah, I do.
Because I'm gonna get on you. You know that. I don't want you to come back bruised up.
No, don't bruise me.
Okay.
But when we get back, Tater, we're gonna talk about your curling team that you're starting, and we're going to show the video of Tater taking a lie detector. We got about a 4-minute video, and it's funny, and he's hooked up to it. And just don't go nowhere. Just watch my commercials. Get you something to sit down there and watch this. It's going to be good. We'll be back in about 5 minutes. See ya.
This presentation of the Mike Weatherford Show is being brought to you by
Paris Power Sports, a bad boy and skag mower dealer and service center that is the area's leading power sports company since 2016. Mow with an attitude and power on.
Napa Auto and Truck Parts. With over 95 years of experience, you can trust the Napa know-how.
Take Me Back Cafe. Delicious home-cooked family-style meals in a nostalgic, warm, and inviting atmosphere. Take Me Back Cafe, great for the entire family.
And the attorneys at Hawley & McAdams, who with over 90 years of combined experience, pride themselves in competent, thorough representation, utilizing their vast experience in a broad array of practice areas. Voted favorite law firm in the 14th Annual Reader's Choice Award, Hawley & McAdams are proud and honored to serve you.
For the last 35 years, Terry Leonard has litigated civil and criminal cases in both local and federal courts across Tennessee. Raised in Benton County and coupled with his background in small business and farming, Terry's experiences provide him unique insights on the challenges faced by West Tennesseans today. A Christian, conservative, and active Republican, Terry believes strong values create a strong community. Firmly believing that all deserve the right to be treated with dignity and respect, Terry has provided extensive pro bono legal work for the less fortunate. Terry Leonard, experienced, fair, honest, and caring. Vote Terry J. Leonard this May 3rd as your candidate for Circuit Court Judge.
Find out more at voteterryleonard.com. Paid for by Terry J. Leonard, candidate for Circuit Court Judge Division 2. Misha Adams, Treasurer.
Don't let pain become a way of life. Voted 6 years in a row as the winner of Favorite Chiropractor in the PI Reader's Choice Awards, Dr. Dustin Forrester can help restore your sense of normalcy and help put some spring back in your step. We are proud to announce the addition of Dr. Grace Burden to our staff, providing the service of dry needling for all our patients. Call our office at 731-644-9000 to schedule your appointment today, and you could be another one of our many happy and satisfied customers.
The decision to buy or sell a home can be a difficult one, and it's important to have someone you can trust during that process. Landmark Realty is that someone, committed to serving you and to building solid, long-lasting relationships. Our experienced real estate agents with established professional networks work hard to help you find your perfect dream home. Browse our wide variety of homes at landmarkrealtytn.com or stop in at either of our 2 locations in Camden or Paris. Don't live in the past. Let Landmark move you into your future.
Whether it's real estate, business, criminal, or family law, civil litigation, estate planning, or even personal injury, attorneys Andy Clark and Chad Cox of Clark & Cox PLLC provide the experience and trusted representation that you're looking for. A long-standing Paris PI Reader's Choice favorite, Clark & Cox address your legal issues using the team approach, setting into motion a strong and highly competent and capable staff to assist you with all your legal needs. To find out more about how we can help you, visit clarkandcoxlaw.com or call us at 731-642-4446.
Ally Smith & Associates, a full-service engineering and surveying company that combines 40 years of industry expertise with new cutting-edge technology to provide innovative solutions to real-world problems. Headquartered in Paris, the professionals at Ally Smith are dedicated to providing high-quality surveying and civil engineering services throughout Henry County and the surrounding region. Ally Smith & Associates, industry expertise, innovative solutions, and community-focused. 54 Fuel Mart, a great place to eat with friendly staff and some of the best gas prices in town. Stop in for a bite to eat or get treated like family. That's 54 Fuel Mart, 1213A West Wood Street in Paris.
Mike Weatherford Show. We've had David Doyle. He is a polygraph examiner. He's got a company here locally. He's been going in depth on what polygraph, or I can't be fancy, what the hell, lie detectors is what we call it. He's a lie detector examiner. And what in the world is Tator Hayes?
What?
That's right. Look at there. You got on the stripes. How did you get out?
I got caught lying.
You got
this.
Busted.
What happens?
I got busted lying.
He's already given you away the results of his test.
Yeah, you're giving away the results. Everybody knows you're guilty. Where's your handcuffs and your flip flops?
Top drawer on the left. Well, you ask.
I'm tell you what.
I didn't lie there.
I've done a lot of shows. I'm going to tell y'all, people, I enjoy what I do up here. I do. I rag on people, and I probably say some stuff I shouldn't say. But this one right here, that day that we went to this office and had this polygraph run on Tator was probably one of the most hilarious things I've ever went through. Tator, you are a true friend. You had, folks, I'm not lying to you. Tator did not know exactly what was going to happen. I'm telling y'all, it's not made up. I just told Tator to meet me
for pictures.
And we got a show to do, and I want you to come in and be my co-host. And Tator said,
"We got pictures."
Yeah, and Tator said, "All right, I'll be there."
That was after the fact.
Yeah. Well, he come in, and I said, we showed him some stuff and set him down there in the chair and took some pictures. The next thing you know, Davey was hooking him up, and Tator said, I want y'all to watch. It's about a 4-minute video. I want y'all just to watch this. This is funny stuff. And just picture Tator not knowing exactly what he was walking into. Let me set the stage for y'all, folks. I know I'm long-winded. Tator met me at the Rise Polygraph examiner. I think he was only going to do pictures and do a little bit of pre-stuff before we done the show. And this is how it turned out. Roll it.
Go about your belly button. Just put your hands together for me, Tator. Hold them straight above your head. Lean just a tad forward.
Hold it. You didn't say nothing about I was going to be wired up.
Yeah, he done walked in front of the video and everything.
All right. This one here goes a little bit higher. Same thing. There you go.
I'm fit to come out my genie bottle.
And put your arms down. Sometimes I get that and roll together. I'll hold your arm back up. You kind of get chested. Sometimes you get that little snug and you hold it back down. There you go. All right.
Hey, I've seen people sitting like this in the movies.
I'm telling you what they're doing here, okay? These little plates here, 2 of them, right? All right, they're about as tight as a Band-Aid. The way I have the room set up, they're going to go on your left hand. Just do your hand like that. One's going to go on the index finger, and one goes on your ring finger. Basically what they're doing is they record sweat gland activity that's in a person's hand. If you think about it, we all sweat. Some a little, some a lot. Now, this one here, it's got a little light there, Tator. You can't see it, though, because the polygraph's not running. It's going to go on your middle finger. Basically, what it does during the test, a little light shines in your finger there. And it's recording blood volume or blood flow. Think about it. A lot of this is common sense. The more blood in your finger, the harder that light is and takes longer to shine through your finger and bounce back. The less blood that's in your finger, the less dense, the faster it will do that. Polygraphs have an algorithm to compute how fast that's doing it versus how much blood flow is there. All right? And a good old blood pressure cuff. Hold your right arm straight to the right, just like that. Now, most people, this is what they hate. We don't pump it up as tight as a doctor because we're not trying to cut your blood pressure off. What this here is doing is it's recording your cardiovascular activity. Just rest your hand right there. All right, so it is about half. It's pumped up about half, and it is pumped up during the test for about 5 to 6 minutes. It'll make your hand go to sleep. So, but other than that, it don't hurt nobody.
Make my legs sensitive.
All right, what you want to do? What do you want, Mike? That's everything. That's hooked up.
Hook him up. Talk to him. So you're fixing to start a test, so we're going to have to turn it off. That's what you're going to tell me. All right, when you get ready to start the test, just say, all right, Mike, turn the video off.
All right. We're going to get ready to start the test here in just a second, okay? Now, before we start the test, all right, you don't feel any pressure in that cuff, do you? This blood pressure cuff.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that means you're not testing, okay? If you don't feel no pressure in it, nothing's happening. That'll be the last thing we do is we'll pump it up right before the test starts. And the first thing we do as soon as the test is over is let the air out. That way it doesn't, make your arm go to sleep too bad. Now, there's instructions during the test, though, that are actually very important. Couple things. Sit straight, feet flat on the floor. Just keep your head and eyes forward. Keep your eyes open. I want to make sure you're not going to sleep on me. Try not to move around. Try to sit as still as possible, for a couple minutes here, 3 or 4 minutes. Also, try your best. Notice how I said try, Tator. Sometimes people have to. Try your best not to cough, sneeze, clear your throat, stuff like that. The main thing about that, though, is try not to do it right in the middle of me asking you a question, okay? If you need to do that, go right ahead, clear your throat, whatever. And you let me know and we'll get started.
Okay, I'm ready.
Tator, how's it feel, brother? Talk to me before I turn you on. I know he's fixing to do a polygraph on you. Tell me how you feel.
I just hope that when this is done, I'm not in a pine box or something.
No, you're not going to.
It's
not an electric chair. It's a polygraph, or as we call a lie detector. So I'm going to find out some stuff, folks. And so, yeah, I'll tell y'all when the show starts. You tell me when you're fixing to start, and I'll stop the video.
All right. From this point forward, try not to move for me. Is Mike correct on the reason you are called Tator?
No.
Tator, boy.
Oh, man.
Did you not see that at the end?
Yeah, I saw that.
So I was right why they call you Tator.
Well, guess what?
What?
Time to be quiet over there.
Oh, look here, folks. You seen it. Long wheelbase 10. Let me make sure that damn thing.
I made those last week.
That's a good one. I want y'all to look. Y'all seen it. You know what, Tator? That's our secret, brother.
That's it.
But does a lie detector work?
Yes, sir. I believe a lie detector test. I would, if they were using one on me for
For something serious?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I would nearly think they were probably more than 85% correct.
That's right. You know, that pucker factor you were sitting on down there. You know, that thing you sat on that you thought was going to shock you?
Yeah.
I think that's what gave it away. Because I'm sure when he asked you that question, you old puckered up down there.
Yeah, I think I did.
I think that's what happened.
I think I did.
Hey, it's funny you bring that up, talking about if something was serious. You hear people say all this all the time, that they're not accepted in court and why would you do it and all this. If you were being accused of something, Mike, very serious, and you knew good and well you didn't do it, I don't care if you felt like it wasn't acceptable in court or not.
I'd want it.
Exactly. And that's what I run into a lot. People are for polygraphs when they're telling the truth and they want to show that. People are not for polygraphs when they know they're lying.
Right. I can understand that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they, if I was getting arrested for something I didn't do, I'd be squalling, screaming, hollering, hell no. I've seen a lot of these big cases on TV, and you'll always hear them. They passed the polygraph test. They put that into the
questions.
No, they'll put that into the juror's mind. Hey, he went and took a polygraph test, and he passed that, so my client is innocent.
But my first response to that, if somebody comes to me and says they passed, they failed, whichever. I failed a polygraph, I passed a polygraph. My first response as a polygraph examiner is, what were the questions? What they asked you?
Is the results of a polygraph, is it basically your opinion?
No.
As the giver?
No, it is an objective test.
Okay, so you can't say it's so the answers are kind of black and white.
Yeah, there is no passing or failing. You just
yeah.
It's
called a lie detector test, right, Tator? Okay.
I'm glad you brought that up. That's where polygraphs got a bad name many years ago, because there was no licensing with states, and by the way, I couldn't remember exactly, so I looked this up the other day. 25 of the 50 states require a license. So that means there's 25 states in the United States of America you do not have to have a license to do what I do.
Huh.
Yeah, you can go to attend a polygraph school and start running polygraphs in that state. But anyway, you had polygraph examiners. Everybody who gives mechanics, Mike, a bad name.
Mechanics.
The mechanics. Who gives police officers bad name? Other police officers. Who gives polygraph examiners bad names? Other old polygraph examiners. So, in 1966, you had the American Polygraph Association that come about. All right, it's a national organization of polygraph examiners, and they started developing standards and practices. That's where things become a lot more standardized. A test that I run today, for example, the format, depending on the format you run, there's different formats. They've standardized it and made it part of, there's procedures you have to follow. So if you had that test run at my office today, and you went next week and had somebody in California run that test, it would be run the exact same way.
There's a standard.
Correct.
That's good.
Now, obviously, when you start
but
having...
if you're called a fly-by-night or you're a jackleg or bootlegger, you might get different. I'm glad you tell me there is a standard. So if you go to a certified, like state of Tennessee, somebody like you certified, and I went to another certified, it's going to be basically all the same. What
it should be.
That's good.
And I'm a member of the American Polygraph Association, Tennessee Polygraph Association. I'm one of the 3 elected board members on the Tennessee's Polygraph Association. Yeah. And that's what it's about, standards and practice. That's how reliability gets built. Because if the test gets run the same way 10 times and it's the same way, they can research it and they can study it. But if it's run 10 times and twice it was run the same way and the other 8 it was done just a little different, well, you can't use those other 8 because they were different. So standards have really come a long way with polygraphs, and it's increased our validity and accuracy and profession a lot.
When you say go ahead, man. When you say standards, do you mean like, because I was wondering this, say just somebody comes in and do you have a standard set of questions you ask?
No, I don't. I don't mean standard questions, okay? There's a standard to the way the test has to be administered, okay? You know, the test, we laugh about it, the thing with Tator there, you know. Obviously, that's for show, you know. If you ever watch them on TV, it's all for show, okay? Right. When the door shuts and we get serious, it's a whole different ball game, okay? And there's a standard we have to go through. You know, most people believe or they're familiar with polygraphs, what they see on TV. You know, shows like Meet the Fockers, where the guy's in the basement and his CIA agent, he hooks him up and he starts asking his future son-in-law questions. Yeah, that's not how all this works, okay? In a polygraph exam, a lot of people call it polygraph test, okay? We refer to it as a polygraph examination because it's not really a test. You're going to know every question before I ever start.
So it ain't testing you. Just test if you're doing it, if you're answering it.
When you went to school, did you know all the test questions before you took the test?
No.
You're going to know every test question. We go over all of that in detail, so there's no confusion.
What are you looking for?
What do you mean?
I got it. When you know you're I think and I'm understanding it, and then you throw that out there, and I lose it all. What are you looking for in a polygraph on someone? When Tator was doing the polygraph, right? What was you looking for? I mean, it was pretty obvious when his stuff went crazy.
That was his physiological responses.
Okay.
In other words, his body's involuntary reactions when he heard the question and answered no.
Right.
Okay? Yeah. That was his physiological responses. Okay. All right.
Hold on, Tator, Jen says she needs some cash to stay quiet on that question, too, about why they call you Tator.
I played the fifth.
Okay. you got any more of them long wheelbase tens?
No, you might split that one with it.
Good one, Jen. I love it.
and, you know, we'll kind of go back here to, I don't know if somebody asked the question or whatever of why they don't use them in court or things of that nature.
Yeah.
You know.
That's what I want you, David. Circle back on some of the stuff that we've done. And fill in the blanks for me because I'm not a real good interviewer.
Well, you know, polygraphs, like I said, they got a bad rap and they got not really admissible in court many years ago, okay? Like I told you earlier, the first one that was out was in 1921, all right? Polygraphs have been out for over a century, all right? Over a century, they've been studied, they've been researched, they've been just hammered and hammered and hammered.
They've not been found to be wrong much, really.
Not really.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I don't understand why.
Not when they're run correctly and follow standards. That's where everything changed.
Let me interject a second. The government uses them.
Do you know who?
You know what I'm saying?
Do you know? You have any idea? And we've talked about. I'm a private polygraph. I own my own business. Right. You have obviously local law enforcement agencies, state agencies. Any idea who is the largest implementer of polygraph examinations? The United States federal government.
If it's good enough that the government uses it, you know, Tator. I mean, I guess unless it was against me, I would be all for a polygraph.
I guess I had mixed emotions about him, or
but
maybe really didn't even care about him, you know.
Until now,
but it's the real deal. I mean, I see.
Yeah, I mean, I can see a place.
I don't even know how to explain it.
I know it is hard to explain. This is one of the shows that I'm tongue tied because I really don't know how to explain what I'm trying to say, David. But I can see how a lie detector should be in municipal court. Do you agree? Or it should be part of the defense or part of the prosecution. You've been a police officer.
Yes, sir.
So you've been in court.
I've testified in state and federal court.
That's right. And do you agree that it ought to be a part of the process and the courts either clear me of a crime or convict me of a crime?
Yes and no. Okay. You should not be convicted
by the polygraph
or cleared solely.
No, I'm not saying
based
solely.
on the result.
No. Right. I said, let me make that perfectly clear. No, I don't think you should be on anything.
Correct.
But do you think it should be part of the process?
If it meets the standards. The state of Tennessee in court to be as an expert, I'm not going to get into, I'm no attorney, but Tennessee falls under the Daubert Act, okay? To be classified as an expert on a subject, you have to have it's called a Daubert hearing. And if that examiner submits and goes through a hearing with a judge and can be certified as an expert through the Daubert process.
Expert witness.
Correct. That they've had training, knowledge, the test was run correctly, it followed those standards, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, all the way down to Z, then yes.
I agree with that. You know, Tator, you know, you had one run. a small test run. If I was something serious, I would want, as you would probably want your attorney to get a lie detector run on you and have it as an expert witness. Would Tennessee recognize you as an expert witness?
Oh, I can't answer that. I mean, you can't answer that for anybody. That's why they have the Daubert Act, where you have to go through a Daubert hearing to be testified or to be certified as an expert on a subject.
What do you think?
I think if he was.
But let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question real quick before you get there. I've told you and there's research to back that up, the 84, 5 to up to about 94. There's research out there. It ain't my studies. Those are independent researches, okay, that are done by scientists and doctors that don't know how to run a polygraph, okay, but they research. That's what they do. So that's out there. There's studies out there with it, but we don't allow it in court a lot of times, okay? But let's talk, what are some things allowed in court that are less reliable? You have any idea?
Yeah. Eyewitnesses.
Absolutely. But we think that's the most important thing, right? If Mike seen Tator do something, we're going to let Mike go testify that he saw Tator do that, right?
Well, when I was in school, not to butt in on you, but they done this deal to where they showed a wreck on TV. I don't know what class I was in. It's back in, we just barely had electricity, okay? But anyway, they showed us, and everybody supposed to write down what they seen. And there was just as many what they seen as there was people in the classroom. And I was sitting there saying, what the hell did y'all watch? Did I watch the right TV
You thought
screen?
they watched a different video.
Yeah. So I understand where that comes from.
And, there's been some studies and research that eyewitness testimonies, in some studies, one was done several years ago by Ohio State University, that about 52% is what it is. I think it was 52% of wrongful convictions were because of eyewitness testimony.
A lot of it can be, people, I hate to say it, but pissed off at you.
Well, it could be,
If I split screen going on there, I like that. You see that, Tanner?
I wasn't watching.
I looked over at the monitor.
Trying to keep my eye on you.
Look at there. Look at there, David. There's me and you in blue. You got the stripes on. Go ahead, Tator. I'm sorry.
Truth tellers wear blue.
That's right.
Another thing. In 2014, the Innocence Project, everybody's heard of them.
Yep.
Okay. They went back and did a study and got their statistics over people that they had exonerated. That 72% of their exonerations through DNA evidence later, that the person was convicted wrongly based majority on eyewitness testimony. And 72% were later exonerated over DNA. And we got all the faith in the world.
DNA proved that was false. That's right. You was not correct, even though somebody said you was. Go ahead, Tator. You had a question.
There really ain't nothing to keep an eyewitness from lying.
That's what I said. No, they was pissed off at you.
No, what I was going to say is I liked the little story that you told up there about the boxes.
You tell that story. They're in my ear to wrap it up. We're going over an hour, so wrap it. Tell us that little story. That's pretty good, Tator. Thank you for bringing that up.
Well, we did a little experiment, I guess you would call it, with a reporter about polygraphs. They wanted to know about it. So it was with a newspaper. I'm not going to get into names and where it was at.
No,
anybody can find it.
This.
Yeah, anybody can find it. And he had no idea about polygraphs, never been around them, didn't know anything. He wanted to figure it out. He was doing a report on it. So we come in and we did the whole process. It was not like what we did, Tator. It was a simple little, photo shoot thing. I mean, we did the process. This took us about 2.5 hours. And we set up lockers, just normal lockers, all right, that had keys to them. And we labeled them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I forgot, maybe 7. I don't remember how many it was. But we labeled them. So you stand in front of the locker, you see locker number 1, okay? Right. And I gave him my watch, told him to go and hide it in one of those lockers, completely separate room, and take the key with him. And remember which locker, because obviously it had the number on it. And that I told him we would come back and administer an examination, a complete examination, not what we did, a complete examination. And when it was all said and done, I would tell him what key to give me so I could go get my watch back. And it was all over with. Don't ask me what locker it was. I don't remember that. This was 5, 6 years ago. When it was all over with, I told him, give me the key to locker number 4, whatever it was, so I can go get my key. And I actually thought he was going to fall out of the chair because it was in locker number 4. He had no idea that I could figure that out. So that's my point. Polygraphs can be used for many things. Many things. Missing children. Are you really worried about a court process if you're looking for a missing child?
No, there's a lot of times.
You're worried about finding the child.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a lot of factors of what polygraphs can be used for. If you're in the CIA and you're trying to find a double agent that's, or in a war zone that's planted a roadside bomb, are you really worried about court?
No, I mean waterboarding.
I know people in their mind, they think a polygraph test or lie detector, they think a little needle sitting there doing all this, that, and other.
Yeah.
But,
That's an analog instrument.
the stuff he has is some high-tech equipment. I mean, you may think it's a few little wires running here and there, but it is super sensitive and
pretty accurate.
I was impressed. Even though it was more than just pictures, I'm impressed with the equipment.
There you go.
And the way he administers it.
He's pretty knowledgeable what his job is. I got to give you that, David. You're pretty knowledgeable about it, man. But
I don't try to do it to impress people.
No,
my job is to find out the truth, and that's what I try to do.
Have you enjoyed yourself?
Man, I've had a blast. Yeah. I really have. It's been fun. I can't believe it's only been an hour already.
Oh yeah, it goes by fast. I told you we won't get to all the questions. I won't get to all of them on the screen. We won't get to everything.
That's fine.
But you know what? There's always a next time.
Sure.
And
I won't put you off a month next time.
That's right. I appreciate you coming on.
Thank
y'all.
Y'all.
A lot to
I
me,
appreciate
man.
y'all.
I
we had fun, Tator.
I fed you pizza.
We did.
I gave you something. We knocked your business, beat it up. That's
you
good.
You like that? You ain't read it really.
Right. Yeah, check out the slide right here. Look here. Rise, credibility assessment, professional. Got his phone number on there.
I mean, the cup, Mike. Did you read it? Read it close. That's my philosophy.
In God we trust. All
Everybody
else takes a lie detector. But, David, I really appreciate it.
I do too, Mike. Thank you.
Nikki, thanks for letting him come, honey. I appreciate that. I mean, when she first walked in, that's not his wife. That's his daughter, but it's his wife. I mean, I'm getting brownie points here. I have to do that. Yeah. David, I appreciate you coming on, brother.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.
David?
Yes, sir.
Another good one in the books.
Yeah. I ain't never going to get paid for this gig, am I? This will cost me $100.
Well, I mean, what can I say? David, I appreciate it a lot. It's the kind of guy you are that would just walk into something blindly like it and give it you don't care if you're getting or giving as long as you're involved.
That's it. That's my motto.
That's right.
But I tell you what, though, I was glad I did it. I learned a lot.
Yeah.
David,
you started out just laughing. At the end, you were serious.
Yeah. But he was, he is so knowledgeable of what he does, and that's an amazing.
It's very amazing.
I wouldn't want to be in a bad situation and
not have him on me. Not if it's going to put me in jail. Hell no.
I'm like, I don't need to go up there and talk to him.
They say, we're going to go see David Dawson. You got anybody else we can go to? I ain't going to him. Hell, he's good at what he does.
No, he's good. He's got good. Yeah, it's
David, I appreciate you coming in, man. It means a lot to me, man. I appreciate it. And and everything you do to help me support my show.
And I hope everybody tunes in next week. That's going to be a pretty impressive,
it's going to be a good
gig right there, man.
Well, folks, we got next week. Look at the screen. We got February the 15th, a missing person since 2008. We got Amber Simmons, daughter of Rachel Conger. She's going to be zooming in with us. Richard Conger, he's the brother of Paul Conger, the one that they found deceased. We've got 2 private detectives coming out of Nashville that did a little show for Discovery Channel. They're going to be in say. Got Henry County Sheriff Josh Fry. He's going to be here. He's doing all the investigating on this thing. We're going to try to put an end to this. It's been since 2008. Folks, this needs to be over with. These people need to move on with their life. And this girl, she needs to be closure. Somebody somewhere may have seen something that no matter how small it is, we're going to have numbers up where you can call. If you think of anything, Sheriff's Department, we're going to have some numbers. And we're going to have a person on the show, I don't know what exact word to use, but has found bodies for police departments all across the country and probably the world. She's going to be zooming in. She's going to listen to this show. She's going to try to help us pinpoint it. But if you think you know something, call it into the Sheriff's Department. Let them know something small as you might think doesn't mean anything could help these people close this out. So I want to appreciate you tuning in. I want to appreciate my guest, David Doyle. I want to appreciate my co-host, Tator Hayes. He's a good guy. He would make you a good commissioner. But
thank you.
I appreciate you, brother.
That didn't even cost me anything.
No, they ain't. Well, you know.
Yeah.
Y'all tune in next week. I want to thank my guest. I want to thank my sponsors. And I want to thank you, mostly the viewer, for putting up with this crazy thing we do called the Mike Weatherford Show. And I really appreciate it. Go to my sponsors. Tell them you appreciate it. Without them, we couldn't do this. Don't forget, Tuesday nights, 7 p.m. live. You don't want to miss this one. Tell them bye, Tator.
See ya.
Bye.
We're out of here.